Hi guys, my name's Barry.
And I'm Jack.
And welcome back to the channel, and we'll be doing more X-Men reviews today. Again, little mini reviews, not really the reviews for the films, but we want to kind of get into our best characters, our worst characters, and most importantly, the best scenes in the films as well. So today we'll be doing X-Men The Last Stand from 2006. Again, this is the first time that Jack's seen the film, and we'll give your overall thoughts on the movie at the end as well. So this one obviously is the third one in the first trilogy. We had obviously X-Men, X-Men 2, and X-Men The Last Stand, which we thought at the time would have been the last movie in the franchise. And it kind of was for a while because we got the spin-offs with the Wolverine films, and then we got the First Class and so on and so on. So it kind of was the last one until Days of Future Past came with Bryan Singer coming back directing. So this one was about Jean Grey coming back. She wasn't dead, she was alive. She ended up being the Phoenix, and they had to stop the Phoenix. But not only did they have to stop the Phoenix, Magneto and his crew were also hanging about as well. So we'll give your overall thoughts at the end. But first we're going to get into, we'll do our worst characters again first. Yeah. So who do you want to go first? You want me to go first for the worst characters or you? Me? Okay, I'll go first. And my worst character is Kid Omega, played by Ken Leung. He was that sort of hedgehog character. And I felt like he was useless because he couldn't really do much damage. As far as I could see, he couldn't do much damage to you unless he was close by or hugging you. Could he take some of his pins out and throw them? I can't remember if he could do that.
No, he didn't. They didn't do it in the film, so I guess not. Then.
Well, I suppose if he could do it, then obviously he didn't do it. So Kid Omega is my worst character. So who is your worst character?
Mine is also probably Kid Omega. I just thought he was so useless. And another thing I hated about him was he thought he was so strong looking and stuff, the way he walked about and that. And the only kill he got was just his human, and he hugged him. So really just useless at this point, and there was no need for him, especially in the big battle at the end. He done nothing.
Yeah. There was a scene, like you said, he thought he was the big man when he went towards Magneto and Pyro.
Yeah.
And he's like, who are you? And they're like, who are you? Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go on to our best characters. Since I went first for the worst characters, you can go first for the best characters.
Okay. My favourite character is probably Wolverine. I just thought in this film he really showed that he should be the Wolverine. You can tell no one could replace him. His acting in it is brilliant, and the way his thing for Jean Grey it was just really good. And I also like the fact that he likes to do everything in his own, he's the main man. And I just thought in this he was brilliant, and I think he was way better than he was in the other two X-Men films. So for me, Wolverine's my favourite character.
Yep. I agree as well. So we've got the same worst characters and we've got the same best characters, because I also think Wolverine is the best character. Now, again, I think overall with X-Men 2, there's a lot of things that happen in that are a lot better. But with Wolverine, I feel like every time Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine, it just gets better and better. He also gets bigger and bigger, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I thought he was fantastic in The Last Stand. You can see because he loved Jean Grey, and he couldn't really be with her because Cyclops was still there, even though Cyclops was useless as well.
Yeah.
I just feel like Wolverine, you can see all the pain inside Wolverine, you can see all the anger inside Wolverine. I think so far, leading up to obviously the bigger films, that The Last Stand is Hugh Jackman's best performance as Wolverine. Okay, we'll finally move on to our best scene in the film. Now, for me, there's a clear winner. And I'll go first, is that all right?
Yeah.
So my best scene is the end of the film when Jean Grey has went full Phoenix, and she's standing on top of that little hill, and the only person that can get to her is Wolverine. And as he's walking towards her, every time he's taking a few steps, his skin is blowing off because of what she's doing, and you can see the adamantium skull that's behind him, and then you see him kind of reforming again, leading up to that scene. And obviously with him going up to that scene and get up to the Phoenix at this point, he has to kill her. That's the only option that he has, and he obviously doesn't want to do it. So to me, that's an epic moment in a film that wasn't amazing, but that's an epic moment for me. So that's my favourite scene.
That's my favourite scene as well, actually. I love the fact that he was going up the hill and he was the only person who could stop her, and he loved her so much. But the fact that he had to kill her was really sad and emotional. And for 2006, the CGI, like everything around the place just like blowing up and stuff, I just thought it was so good and so epic. And for me, that was definitely my favourite scene.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. The CGI for 2006, I think the CGI is actually really good. You look at the CGI in the first one and the second one, you can tell some of the scenes weren't great for CGI, but with The Last Stand, it's a lot better. Obviously, you won't know this, but The Last Stand is actually the most expensive X-Men film of all time.
Really?
Even to this day.
How?
So Deadpool and Wolverine, it was 200 million to make. The Last Stand cost 210 million to make.
How?
They just went way over budget. Yeah. Like newer films in the franchise, like First Class, were only half that. But I think because they wanted all the characters back, and they probably overpaid everybody as well. The CGI, everything that went towards it. Although the film didn't make a lot of money at the box office, I think it made like 400 odd million. They spared no expense, so the CGI I think was top notch. So our final thoughts on The Last Stand. I'll start with this one. I will say that for a film that at the time was supposed to be the finale of the X-Men trilogy, I was kind of underwhelmed at the time. I went to see it in the cinema. I had a migraine when I went to see it in the cinema. I was telling you. So I wasn't really paying attention, and I think it was okay at the time. Watching it again today, I think it was a lot better than I remembered it being. However, it is still quite weak in terms of a finale to what I would see as a solid trilogy. So it was an okay film. There were just a few things I would maybe have changed in the overall finale, but overall it was actually all right. What do you think?
Same thing you said, like, for its finale, it was okay. They could have done a lot of improvements. I did think they added a lot of characters that were really good though, which is a good plus on them. They added a few that were in the comics, and it was a big surprise to see them in the film. But overall, the film was decent. I did like it a lot. And yeah, overall it was pretty good.
Also, with you talking about all the characters, I remember back in the day, we didn't have like Endgame style films where you had like 100 superhero characters. So when The Last Stand came out, as well as Spider-Man 3, which came out in 2007, when those films came out, people were saying the bad thing about The Last Stand and Spider-Man 3 were there were too many villains in the film. And you're like, when you look back, you're like, well, there's only 3 or 4 villains, and they would say that's too many back then. But nowadays, you get like 50 villains, and that shows you how the scale has changed in terms of the bigger superhero comic book films. So I think we have to remember and take that into consideration. Where back in the day, they tried to not show us too many characters because they thought we wouldn't like that. But today, the more the merrier. So yeah. Definitely.
But to be honest, I think it's just the way they do it. Like, for example, Endgame, the amount of villains there was in that and stuff, like a whole army of villains thinging them. But I think it's just the way they do it, really. Like, if it was like, for example, Spider-Man 3, the way that they're all in like a tight area just fighting and stuff. I think because like Endgame, it was a massive battlefield, and like all the heroes and villains just came out and just battled it out to the death.
I think that's why The Last Stand is actually aged better than maybe some of the other entries, because it's got a kind of last battle scene in it where you know, the bad guys and the good guys are coming together fighting each other. That's why I kind of like that, but I just felt like the overall finale felt like it just kind of fizzled out, and I'm like, oh, is that it? Is that the end of the X-Men? And it just, especially with Cyclops. Yeah. Like, Cyclops never had anything to do in this whole trilogy, 1, 2, and 3. I think he was the least used character in the franchise, even though he was one of the most powerful mutants of all time, and they never really used him, especially having James Marsden playing Cyclops. He's a brilliant actor, but again, they kind of never used him, and especially in The Last Stand, he died in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know, you literally no screen time at all.
And that's it. So, yeah, a few decisions I would have changed in the film, but overall it wasn't bad. I think the reviews that it got at the time were terrible. Obviously, you weren't born yet, but the reviews were terrible. But looking back, I think maybe we're a little bit too harsh on The Last Stand. So that's it for our review for The Last Stand, guys. That's the first 3 that have come out. Next, we're going to be talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine, and that'll be in the next video. So thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming
to get you, Barbara.
Ever play Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back seat!